So you struggle with understanding long math SAT questions. Don't worry, I've got 3 keys to help you understand any math SAT question that comes your way, plus an extra tip just for you. So let's take a look at how I implement these keys when I'm understanding a math SAT question, and maybe you can do the same on your next math SAT question. Key number 1, use your pen, your finger, or your cursor to follow every single line in the question you're reading. Now this is important because oftentimes when we see a lot of words, as we're reading, we end up rereading the same line over and over and over again. And that's not your fault. That's just what happens when there's a lot of reading, and also you have some tiredness from reading all the previous questions. So by using a marker under every single line, that will help you stay on track and focused for the question at hand. Let's take a look at how we can do that on this question here. So we have a question that has a giant picture, a lot of words underneath it, and then even worse, there are no answer choices to at least get me an idea of what it's looking for. So what we're gonna do in a situation like this is we're gonna use our finger, our pen, or our cursor, and in this case, I'm gonna use a underlining tool, which is just a pen, to follow along every line and make sure I am not rereading the same line twice, so I'm not wasting any time. A summer camp counselor wants to find a length X in feet across a lake as represented in the sketch above. The lengths represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD on the sketch were determined to be 1,800 feet, 1,400 feet, 700 feet, and 800 feet respectively. Segments AC and DE intersect at B, and AEB and CDB have the same measure. What is the value of X? Do you see how I didn't have to keep rereading certain lines? I took in the picture, I used my finger to underline every single line in the question to make sure that I'm not rereading or my eyes are wandering or I'm losing focus. This is a simple trick that has a huge return on investment. If you start doing this, you will find yourself not getting lost in what you're reading. You will find yourself not having to reread the same sentence over and over again and wonder, why the heck am I wasting an extra 30 seconds rereading the same lines? Read it once, understand it once, and move on to answering the question. Key number 2. Structure the information. Summarize what you know after every single sentence, connect it to all the other things that you've been told, and write down relevant information. If you do that while reading the question, you're starting to paint this picture of what's going on in the question. You're not just treating things as separate sentences or separate little facts. You're starting to understand that this sentence connects to this has to do with that, this is what's going on over here, this is what's going on over there. How does it all connect? And what that's going to do is that's going to set the stage for you to understand what the question is wanting you to do with that when it asks you a question, right? So before we can understand or start to figure out what to do when we read a question, I first need to know what the heck is even going on. And if I don't know what's going on, then what good does it do for me to know that, okay, it's asking me to solve X. Where's X? What is it in relation to? What do I know about X? What do I know about this problem in general? Okay, so do you see how creating a story, a picture, kind of this image in your head as you walk through the question and you're putting all these pieces together, things start to go from really blurry to starts to get really clear. It's like focusing a camera, right? Just because you have your camera up doesn't mean the image is clear. It might be very blurry. You have to start getting that camera into focus, and that's what you're doing here. You're getting your mental camera into focus with the question so you can see what's going on. Let's look at how we do that in this exact problem again. So let's start again from the top for this question. A summer camp counselor wants to find a length X in feet across a lake as represented in the sketch above. It's wanting me to find X, and X is in the sketch above. Let's identify where X is. So I see that X is over here, and basically I see that this is a lake right here. I see a bunch of different triangles. So I'm already thinking, okay, there's triangles together. What do I know about triangles? Similar triangles, congruent triangles, 30, 60, 90, those are right triangles. I'm starting to already piece that together. But what I do know is that it's asking for X on one side of a triangle. Let's keep reading. The lengths represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD on the sketch were determined to be 1,800 feet. Stop. You're being given information that relates to a picture. So let's go ahead and start filling out this picture. In this case, we can actually start to make the image more clear by writing things down on the picture. So let's do that. AB is 1,800 feet. So what I'll do is I'll kind of underline AB 1,800 and then I'll write it down. Then I'll cross it out to let me know that I've already done that part. Okay, so I filled out a ton of information without even knowing what it's asking me to do next. But I know that this might be useful. Maybe it won't, maybe it will, but I'd rather have more information than not enough at this point. Segments AC and DE intersect at B. So AEB, let's make it red, this part right here, and CDB, so this angle right here, have the same measure. So I already know they've already I didn't really have to color on it. They already kind of noted in the picture itself that they're the same with that angle. You can write A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't care what you use, just know that they're the same and make an image or a mark, whatever that tells you that those measures are the same at this point. And then at the very end, it says, what is the value of X? Okay, so then we get to the question. But at this point, we know what's going on. We don't have to reread the question and be like, okay, what do I need to do now? What goes to what? No, as I'm going, I'm reading, I'm underlining, and then I'm saying, okay, here's some relevant stuff. Let me start filling this out. I don't know what I'm going to use this for yet, but my brain's going to start to be picking up on things that I know about triangles or I know about whatever it's asking me. Okay, so the whole goal of this is to make the most efficient and effective use of our time. And by filling out things sooner rather than later, by creating this mental image, by creating a picture, we can do just that. We can make the most use of our time. And something that I like to tell some of my students when we're doing this together is I tell them, when you're reading it, make it a story in your head, make it a picture, add characters to it. I don't care. What I need you to do is to make the question relevant to you. So you're actually putting some effort into understanding what's going on. And I found, and some of my students have found, that by making a story in your head, it tends to resonate more. It tends to be more real to you. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but that's something I like to do and it seems to work. Key number 3, circle the question that is being asked. So if we look at this question right here, we've already used the pointer method. We've already drawn the picture. We've already drawn this picture in our head. The image is really clear as to what's going on. What good does all that do if you have no idea what the question is asking you, right? It might be asking, what is BD or CD or whatever? You don't know, right? So we need to understand that even though we're doing all of this work for a question like this, we need to understand what is being asked. Because at the end of the day, this is a standardized test. You need to have an answer. You do not get points for just understanding what's going on. You get points for having a right answer. Okay? So this will take 2 seconds. Let me show you how this works. What is the value of X? Circle it. That's what's being asked. Extra tip. Focus on the question at hand. I can't tell you how many times myself, my friends, students I teach, are taking a test, answering a question, and I can tell they are not focused on the question because they're thinking about the previous one that they had just did, or they're already reading ahead to the next question. Let me ask you this. How does that help you answer the current question? It doesn't. So focus on the question at hand. Make sure you're giving all of your brain power to that one question. And I promise focusing on one question at a time is going to give you the highest probability that you are going to get that question correct. All right, let's look at another problem. This time, we're going to use all the keys together at once, maybe add some little extra tips and tricks here, but I want you to see how my mind works, how I would walk through this problem, and we're not going to solve it. We're just going to talk about how I would set it up. Okay, let's get into it. So I see a lot of junk here at the top, at the bottom. The formula gives the monthly payment M needed to pay off a loan of P dollars at R%, annual interest over N months. So I know that M is calculating some type of payment. Maybe they're paying off a car. P is going to be the total amount of something that you start with. And then R% is just like an interest rate, I'm thinking. And then over N months, how many months am I going to have to pay this off? Basically, I have to do a bunch of stuff to figure out what am I going to pay per month, per day, per week, whatever it is. So now it says, which of the following gives P in terms of M, R, and N? So I am going to circle this here. So I know that P needs to be over here and it needs to equal something with an M, R, and an N on the other side. So I know that right off the bat. So now what I can do is I can look at the equation above and see that there's a lot of stuff there that it's trying to throw me off. What I like to do is I know if I just need to move stuff over to the other side, because that's what it's asking me to do, is just move a bunch of stuff over. Maybe I can label all of that junk other things and we can call it stuff 1, 2, and 3 or 4, right? So let's try that. So I have, I'll take this at the top. So we'll call this stuff 1, stuff 2, and then this whole thing here called stuff 3. So basically what I'm being asked to do is I want to get P over here and I want M with stuff 1, stuff 2, and stuff 3. Okay, so knowing that, if I wanted to kind of solve it without solving the problem, let's see how I would do that. So then I'll go P equals, well, 1, I need to multiply both sides by stuff 3, so stuff 3 times M, and then I divide it by stuff 1 and stuff 2, because let's say they're a package deal up here, right? So they're multiplied together, so I would just divide both sides by that. So now I know that my answer is P equals stuff 3 times M divided by stuff 1 and stuff 2. Then I would look at the answer choices and see if any of those match the kind of stuff 1, stuff 2, 3 structure, and if they match exactly, and I'll just plug them back in for their original forms. And sure enough, one of the answer choices is correct. So, but we're just here talking about how I think through things, okay? So let's move on to the next question. Okay, we got a question with a lot of words here, no pictures, nothing involved, just words and understanding. So let's see how we would break this question down. The posted weight limit for a covered wooden bridge in Pennsylvania is 6,000 pounds. So let's say there's a bridge like this, 6,000 pounds is the limit. A delivery truck that is carrying X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds, will pass over the bridge. So I've got a truck, an awful truck, okay? And let's just assume it's one box in here that's 14 pounds. And it's going to pass over the bridge. If the combined weight of the empty delivery truck and its driver is 4,500 pounds, what is the maximum possible value for X that will keep the combined weight of the truck driver and boxes below the bridge's posted weight limit? So I know that an empty truck by itself, empty, is going to be 4,500 pounds with a little driver in there, okay? 4,500 pounds. And I don't know how many boxes are in the truck yet. I just know that one box is 14 pounds. So let's see what the question's even asking me again. So it's asking what is the maximum possible value for X that will keep the combined weight of the truck, driver, and boxes below the bridge's posted weight limit. So essentially it's asking me what is X? Well, it's asking me how many boxes can be in the truck so that the bridge doesn't collapse. Okay, so I know that one box is 14 pounds. I know that the truck is 4,500 pounds. And I know that the limit of the bridge is 6,000. If I go over 6,000, we're dead. Bridge is collapsing. We're all dead. No more boxes. Someone doesn't get their gifts. Okay, so then I would set up this equation here. Now I could draw all these pictures, but if I wanted to do it quicker, and let's say I didn't need the pictures or I had the pictures in my head, this is what it would look like if we were to write down these equations. So I've got something that is 6,000 pounds, which is the bridge. And then it's saying a delivery truck is carrying X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds. So I got 14X over here. This is the weight of boxes. And then I have the combined weight of the truck is 4,500 pounds with the truck and driver, and I need that to be less than or equal to 6,000. This is the equation that I'm working with. I need to basically solve for X at that point, and then I would get my answer. But do you see how we took a picture, we made sense of everything, and then we just made it a formula or an equation? And it's the same thing, it's just in an equation form rather than in picture form. But we still have the same idea. Number of boxes plus the big truck. They've given me the weight of everything, the weight of one box. I need all that to be less than 6,000 because the bridge is gonna collapse if there's too many boxes. So what's the max number of boxes I can have? The more you do this in practice, the faster you will get just by becoming more efficient and effective at it. So don't think everything's gonna take forever, Trey. This is gonna take such a long time. There's no way this is a time test. So do this on your practice problems or on your practice test, and you'll notice over time you get faster and faster and faster. Then when you go take the real SAT, it's gonna be a breeze. It's gonna be so much faster. You're not gonna be thinking about all these things. It's just gonna be a habit. And that's what we want. We want these habits to come out on test day so you can crush the test without having to use too much brain power or getting too worked up, and you're just falling back to the systems that you've built. I hope this video brought you a ton of value. Please let me know in the comments what you think, and best of luck on the SAT.